All right, so we're going to do some more problems with linear equations. So this is a type that'll be on your worksheet today. It reads like this: the equation of a line and a point not on the line are given. Part A, write an equation for the line parallel to the given line that contains the given point. Part B, write an equation for the line perpendicular to the given line that contains the given point. So we're going to be writing two different equations for each one of these. So let's start with this first one. In order to write the equation of a line, we always need two things. We need a point of some kind, either the y-intercept or some other point, and we need to know the slope. If we have both of those, then we can write the equation. On all of these, they're giving us the point, so we've got to figure out what the slope is. Well, what is the slope of this line? Yeah, it's -6. So then, what will be the slope of a line that's parallel to that? It's also -6, right? What will be the slope of a line that's perpendicular? But it's got to be the reciprocal also. So it's going to be +1/6. So once we know the slope of the original line, the slope of a parallel line will be the same. The slope of the perpendicular line will be the opposite reciprocal. So now we can just write the equation. So for point slope, I was talking to Mrs. Wheatstruck, and she said this is the way that y'all wrote them last year, so I'll do it the same way. Y is equal to m times x minus x1 plus y1. So for part A, it's going to be y equals -6. Hang on a second. Times parentheses x minus, the x coordinate is -3, plus 2. And unless you did it in the first step, which you can, it's fine with me. We'll go ahead and clean that up. We'll have y is equal to -6 times x plus 3 plus 2. Once you have the parallel one, the perpendicular one takes almost no time at all. All we're going to do is change the slope from -6 to +1/6. So it'd be y is equal to 1/6 times x plus 3 plus 2. Any questions about that problem? Okay, let's do another couple. So for this next one, notice you can't just read the slope off of this. You have to change it into a form where you can just read the slope off. All right, so this is like some of the ones on the homework. We'll subtract 3x from both sides. And we'll have that 5y is equal to -3x plus 18. We'll divide both sides of the equation by 5. That'll give us y is equal to -3/5 x plus, and don't freak out about this, 5 doesn't go into 18 evenly. Don't care. Why not? Because the y-intercept has nothing to do with this problem. All we care about is the slope. What is the slope of this line? -3/5. So then for part A, we're doing y is equal to m times x minus x1 plus y1. If you don't have that memorized yet, just write it down every time. Say it out loud if you need to, but try not to look back at the previous one and just copy it and go, oh yeah, I've got this. Okay? So this will be y is equal to negative 3/5 times x minus 3 plus a negative 5. Well, we usually don't write plus negative 5. What's the simpler way to write that? Just minus 5. And for part B, we want the line through the same point, but we want it to be perpendicular to the original. So that's going to be y is equal to positive 5/3 times x minus 3 minus 5. Almost all the work is done by the time you get to part B. Any questions about that one? Okay, then for number 3, this is in point slope form, or one of the ways you can write point slope. What is the slope on this? Yeah, negative 2/3. So now we're ready to get going. So for part A, I'll write out the point slope equation. Y is equal to m times x minus x1 plus y1. So that'll be y is equal to negative 2/3, because parallel lines have the same slope, of x minus 4 plus a negative 2. Again, we'll clean up that part at the end. Y equals negative 2/3 times x minus 4 minus 2. And then for part B, the perpendicular line, what will my new slope be?
3/2?
Yeah, positive 3/2. So that'll be one type of question that's on your homework. Okay. I had you graph some lines on your homework. We didn't really practice it much. I wanted to see how much you knew. Some of you know how to graph pretty well. Some of you are like, I haven't the slightest idea. Let's take a look at these. So y equals 2/3 x plus 2. Which form is that in?
Slope-intercept?
Slope-intercept. So I've got the slope and I've got the y-intercept. Which do I have to do first, the slope or the y-intercept? Yeah, I got to do the y-intercept first. You got to nail down a starting point. So the starting point is going to be 0, 2. My slope is 2/3, so from that point, we'll go up 2 into the right 3. Or you could go down 2 into the left 3. It amounts to the same thing. Now we have our line. That is stuff that you did in pre-algebra. For this next one, it's the same. It's still in slope-intercept form. The y-intercept this time, though, is negative 1. And the slope is negative 4. Does that mean I just go down 4? What do I do? Go down 4 and to the right 1. Remember that negative 4 is equal to negative 4 over positive 1. Because if they were both negative, a negative divided by a negative would give you a positive. or I could go up 4 and to the left 1. By the way, I don't get super picky about it, but your graph should go all the way to the edge of your grid. If you're drawing a graph that's like 1/4 of an inch long, make it longer. All right. Now, these are given in one of the point slope forms. If you don't like it like this, where there's a number with the y, you can change it. We can simply add 3 to both sides, and this would be y is equal to -2/5 times x plus 4 plus 3. If you prefer it like that, that's fine. Here's the part that you have to remember, though. It's supposed to be x minus x1. Well, it's not minus, is it? But x plus 4 is the same thing as x minus what? -4. So the point that this is going to go through is -4, +3. And then it'll have a slope of -2/5, so we'll go down 2 and to the right 5. And I'll do that until I get near the edge of my graph. It looks about like this. How did I get the point? So remember that the point slope equation is y is equal to m times x minus x1 plus y1. So the y coordinate of my point is 3. The x coordinate is supposed to be x minus something, but I have x plus 4. So I think of that as x plus 4 being x minus -4. So that gives me that the x coordinate of my point will be -4. Okay? All right, everyone please try the next example on your own, if you haven't done so already. Everyone try the next one on your own. All right, here's what it should look like. We're going through the point. If we rearrange this, y is equal to 5/2 times x minus 1 minus 4. So the point that it goes through has coordinates +1, -4. because the equation is y is equal to m times x minus x1. So it's just what comes after the minus sign, plus y1, so that's why that's negative 4. The way most people remember it is that what's in the parentheses for point slope, it's the opposite. And then we have a slope of 5/2. All right, 2 more. And if you'll let them be, these are some of the easiest ones you'll ever do. If you have y equals negative 3, that means at every point on the graph, the y-coordinate is going to be negative 3. So that includes the y-intercept. It's going to be negative 3. And all other places where the y-coordinate's negative 3. Doesn't matter where they are. Any point where the y-coordinate's negative 3. That's what this equation is telling you, is that the y-coordinate is negative 3. If you have a y equals graph with no x's in it at all, it's never going to go through the x-axis. On the other hand, if you have one like this, x equals 2, well, that means the x-intercept is going to be 2. And any point on this where the x-coordinate is 2 is part of your line. So your line looks like this. There's no y in the equation, so it never goes through the y-axis. Okay, any questions about that? All right, then I'm going to give you a worksheet. Please go ahead and get started on that.